Hi, my dear people, it's Laura, and welcome back to the part 2 of August planning. Part 2 is all about weekly spreads, and I draw and paint actually a lot in them, so I hope you enjoy this video. And actually, let's start talking about all of those spreads that I'm creating. And I don't know, I want you to enjoy the video, and let's go. When creating the weekly spreads, I knew that I want to try and paint here. I just didn't know what, so I actually started to think, what would be great for garden and what items or even animals would be found there. So I knew that I had to do a lot of roses and a lot of flowers in general, but when it comes to animals, I didn't draw a lot of them, but I found on Pinterest one amazing illustration of a snake with like the branches and also with flowers. So I combined a bit of like painting and also a sticker, and you will see it's a gorgeous flower sticker, rose actually. But yeah, the snake is, as you can see, in that kind of circle shape. I didn't paint some type of difficult painting or something. I tried to make it simple and minimalistic. I love the way it turned out. It could have been better, but I'm not used much to painting and to gouache coloring and stuff like that. So for the first kind of time, I think it turned out well. Also, when I searched the photos, I found a lot of aesthetic photos of usually women having those amazing hats, and I thought that they were so cool and I wanted to recreate them in my drawings. And I actually think that this hat layers with all the shadings turned out so cool, and I actually did shadings pretty well considering that I generally don't know how to do it. On the other side, to make it all cohesive, I designed some scissors, and the scissors, in my head at least, are made to be cutting some flowers for the vase, or maybe just shaping up the garden and nurturing it, because we already talked in my previous video. I will also link it if you want to watch it, about how important it is nurturing your garden and what that garden would mean metaphorically. So yeah, here are the scissors for that. If only I could have like those magical scissors that would cut everything out, shape it out, and make everything better. But oh well, like I'm just a human being and I have to do it my own. I have to try and create it the way I want with my own thoughts and hands. And that's why I am doing this right now. I wanted to try and paint, and I tried it. Even though some of the paintings, as I said, I'm not the most satisfied with. But those apples here are definitely not an example of where I'm not satisfied, because they're one of my prettiest paintings, honestly, and I'm so glad I have them in this video, because at least that will explain to me how I did them, how I created them to be so good. Because sometimes I don't know if you relate to that, but when there is just some type of beautiful spread or beautiful weekly or cover page that you made, you just come back to it. You don't even write in your journal. You just come and look at it and think, how did I do that? And this is exactly the case with those apples, because I don't know how I did them, but they're pretty cool. As I mentioned, and I will probably keep mentioning, I'm not exactly great with colors yet and with grading and shading and stuff like that. But I think that here I shaded the apples pretty cool, the leaves too, and the flower that you will see next. But I think that the apples and their shading is just so amazing. And also, I of course mixed my gouache colors because I have to mention that, and I have to make this a highlighted note for you because I didn't do that before and I didn't know how to do it exactly, but not right now. I really tried and put a lot of effort into mixing colors. And guys, when you mix the colors, you can get such beautiful shapes. I didn't even realize that those colors existed. Like, how beautiful are they? Because it's easy digitally when you just color drop what you want or choose a color in that like little color section. But here, when you have to mix it all together, that is very fun. And then you feel like some type of scientist, and that just turns out so cool in the end because you get this satisfying feeling of discovering a new color. So yeah, what Dr. Laura actually didn't get to say before is that she put a very cool quote in the beginning of the video and I didn't get to talk about it, so I will use this moment to talk about the quote that I put. So the quote is again from Pinterest, like what did you expect? But it's saying, she looked daisy safe but smelled rose wild. I chose this quote because it describes me and who I am, but also because it is going to give me focus of who I want to be. And what it means is basically, in my opinion, that a person can be looking like very safe and cool and collected, and she can be calm and she could be very normal and peaceful on the outside, I don't know, but on the inside, like the smell of her is making her rose wild. And I think that is very interesting because if there is something that I don't want to be, then that would be boring, that would be ordinary. I don't want to be just an ordinary human who is dealing with just ordinary stuff. I want to be special, I want to be me, I want to be someone who others aren't, and that is a very big goal for me. So yes, basically I want to smell rose wild because I think that a person should not forget one's wild side. I think that we should nurture this too, like in our little garden. I think that we should nurture our wild side and sometimes do something that we're afraid of, but we would like to do it, push ourselves off the limits. I really believe in that, and that's why I'm doing this here. I'm pushing myself off limits because I'm painting and it's something that I wanted to do, but I was really scared. So you can also imagine how that makes me feel on the camera, filming all that. But I nurtured this like wild side of me which wanted to paint, and that's why I did it. And I'm very satisfied because now I can know what I did wrong, what I can do better, what I did good, like with the apples. And yeah, I think that we should all smell very much rose wild. This video is kind of all over the place, but I like the way I'm speaking and what I'm speaking about, and I feel very comfortable with it. But now let's get back to our painting. So as you can see, I tried to make it vintagey, but I also tried to make it like fun, and I tried to recreate all those cool fruits that are fun to draw but also can be found in one's garden. And because of that, I chose strawberries, and I am right now collapsing with Amanda Rach Lee's theme, but I also love it because I love the way she drew strawberries. And yeah, I also decided to create them in some type of bouncy way, like they're just floating, and I needed that type of design actually because the spreads are down there and then the strawberries are above the spread. Another animal that would most typically be found in a garden is and are definitely butterflies. I love seeing butterflies, but sometimes when I see them up close, they kind of scare me. I love their shapes, designs, whatever, I love that. But sometimes when I see them very close, their faces kind of scare me, and I generally don't love insects and bugs that much. But they are definitely amazing and fascinating, and I have to say, very fun to draw. Another creatures that I'm kind of afraid of, but I also love them, are bees. And here I drew some bumblebees, and they were actually so cool to draw. I love how yellow color can be so fun, and it can give some type of happy vibe to the spread. And I'm not exactly that satisfied with this painting particularly, because I think I could have done a better job. But as I said, I'm getting used to painting, so this was just a little practice. And I love the way that I put this here and in that type of diagonal showcase, so that it can look like some type of bookmark. But yeah, this design also I found on Pinterest, and I tried to recreate it. I don't know how this turned out. It would be so helpful if you could just write down what you feel, what you're thinking about this. And I decided to do another quote here. I'm doing them quite a lot in this setup. And the quote goes, "May the flowers remind you why the rain was so necessary." What this quote is basically saying is that, like the flowers after the rain, you will be better after something bad happened. You know, flowers after raining generally grow better, and I think that all those bad moments in our life can teach us to also grow better, to learn something from it, and to, I don't know, grow better people from bad stuff that happened to us. This is just some type of my interpretation, and I chose this quote specifically because of the meaning of it, and because it gives me that type of optimism that I really need sometimes. This spread was also very fun to draw. I drew some type of fence, which I tried to make wooden. I don't know whether I succeeded, but it's now that I'm seeing it, because I'm having my journal with me as I'm filming this voiceover, I think that altogether it looks really cool. And I didn't film this exactly because I had no space on my phone, but I also added a bit of golden touch to this spread, and generally I sometimes add those golden touches so that everything looks better, kind of shiny. And again, here we are on almost the last week of August, and I also drew some flowers. They were very fun to draw. I didn't want to stick with just one flower, and instead in every single spread I chose different types. On the other side we have peas, and they were also very cool to draw. I never actually drew peas, and that was a challenge, and also they might be part of someone's garden, so that's why they're here. I also added some pink kind of color gloves, and I also added some cool banners so that this kind of spread would be more fun. And yes, that is basically it from this video, and I just wanted to personally thank you about all of your love and support on the previous video on the first part of Plan With Me August, and I loved seeing how much love that video got. And I hope you like this one too. I hope you like me speaking. And I also have to mention that I didn't film the last part. I will post it on Instagram because I thought of it as some type of huge painting that would say goodbye August. You're gonna see on the flip through. But yeah, I didn't have much more space and stuff so that I would film that too. But if you would like to, you can check it out on Instagram. I will of course link it down below. And if you haven't seen part 1, make sure to also see that. I will leave you with the final flip through, and also you can imagine me already painting and trying out new stuff for September. And believe me, September is going to be even more fun because I will create spreads only about like 1 or 2 animals specifically for September. So look forward to that, I guess. See you soon. Bye guys. Please make sure to subscribe. Bye.